Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr President. I rise to make a contribution tonight about skyrocketing electricity prices and the pressure that they're putting households and small businesses under across the state of New South Wales. And of course the government is fond of saying that of course these increases are due to national issues and interstate issues, but as I have said in this place on a number of occasions and elsewhere, there are a number of things that this government has in fact done that have made a direct contribution, and I'll return to that in a moment. But just to quickly paint a picture, the ACCC recently produced a report that said that electricity prices nationwide had increased by 63% over the last 10 years on average, and of course many households and small businesses have experienced much greater increases. But the data in relation to New South Wales shows that, and this is not necessarily encapsulated in the ACCC's report, but when you look at reports from St Vincent De Paul and others, you will see that electricity prices in New South Wales, insofar as you can determine them, given the different information sources, has increased by about 60% over the last 6 years. And in fact, electricity prices have gone up by 15 to 20% from 1 July this year alone. And that's a staggering and unsustainable level of growth. The supermarket chain Coles has commissioned its own research which showed that 1 in 4 households were not buying enough fruit and vegetables, presumably at their stores, because they were struggling to pay household energy costs. And whether you're looking at the figures held by the national regulator or those produced each annual report by the Energy and Water Ombudsman, you will see a growth in complaints, you will see a growth in disconnections, you will see a growth in the average amount of energy debt that households with energy debt are in, and it's a considerable problem. But as I've indicated, while no doubt the national electricity market has a role to play in all of this, the state government, through its own deliberate actions, has made a direct contribution to increasing household and business electricity costs. Now, at the last state election, those opposite campaigned on and were re-elected on a commitment that there would be, and I quote from the Liberal Party website at the time and the election paraphernalia, guaranteed lower electricity prices, quote unquote. And the basis of the pitch was that if they were re-elected and they privatised the state-owned electricity distribution system, prices would come down. Of course, prices have continued to skyrocket out of control ever since. And of course, it's now interesting that the government is strenuously saying, well, we didn't really mean electricity prices, we mean network prices. And they say that the prices of the network companies would be lower and have been going down. And there is now an electricity inquiry established by this House, and no doubt we'll be hearing from all of those electricity companies about where the network prices are at. But what is absolutely clear is that the AER said that there should be massive cuts, up to $6 billion worth of cuts. But the state government went to court to actually overturn that determination, and as a result, Ausgrid customers will be paying about $3 billion more over the regulated period for their electricity bills. Endeavour Energy customers, which is everyone in the Illawarra, will be paying $1.25 billion more. And of course the Essential Energy, which is the distributor servicing regional rural New South Wales, its customers will be paying up to $1.7 billion more as a result of the determination being overturned. Now, what's really interesting is that we retained under GIPA a document from Essential which said they didn't need to overturn the AER decision because they could live within the original determination. And that is a matter that is very disturbing. It meant that they proceeded, and of course the document is dated at a point in time before the federal court proceedings were determined. So that puts a really big question mark over the propriety of their conduct, and it's a matter that should be inquired into, and they should be made to explain in the circumstances where they didn't need to participate in that appeal, why they did, and how much extra their customers will, of course, have to pay, and where will that $1.7 billion be going. It's a matter that I will return to. It's a matter that members of this House will continue to investigate until we get some straight answers about whether they have breached any regulatory obligations.